Hi yogis, welcome to class number 2 in the beginners series. So in this class we're going to go over what we learned in the first class but a little bit faster, and then we'll add a couple of standing poses at the end of the practice before our Shavasana. So we'll start as always in a centering, so you can sit on a block or two, kneeling or cross-legged, or you can start lying down. So some of my students just like to start like this instead, so you can lie back with your knees bent like that. Maybe the knees can just touch each other in the middle. Okay, don't struggle, don't force yourself to sit cross-legged or kneeling if it's not comfortable for you at the moment. And it most definitely will get easier to sit cross-legged the more you practice yoga, but don't force it if it's not quite there yet. Okay, close your eyes. Take a moment just to drop in to the space underneath your skin. Observing how you are physically. Kind of using your mind's eye just to look around your body. Any tender spots that you need to be careful of. For any spots that you'd like to move into today, you'd like to release. Observe your mind, observe what's on your mind. And through our practice of yoga, we want to just take a break from whatever's happening in life, whatever's happening in your mind, the stories. You just kind of turn down the volume. Instead of thinking, we just come into this feeling place. And start to deepen the breath. So inhale through the nose, throat, into the lungs, filling the belly. And then exhaling, lungs, throat, nose or mouth. Inhaling, nose, throat, into the lungs, the belly. Exhaling, lungs, throat, nose or mouth. Just keep that going. A few more times. Choose breath over thought. Taking one more breath. And just bringing your hands together, Anjali Mudra. Just acknowledging this time you've given to yourself to practice yoga today. Your intention for your practice to come out of your head and really back into your body. Bowing your head towards your heart, opening your eyes. and lifting your gaze. So we'll come to our tabletop position straight away. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Cat-cows. Inhale as you drop your belly, lift your tail, chest and chin. Exhale, draw the belly in, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your tail, chest and chin. Exhale, draw the belly in, round the back, chin to chest. Just keep that going. So remember the inhale takes the belly down, the tail lifts, the chin lifts, you press into the ground. Then exhale, you draw the belly in, round the spine the other way, chin to chest. Keep that going. Imagine, visualize the spine moving, all the vertebrae moving as one. Such an important warm-up. I always pretty much add this to every single class that I teach. Okay. Coming back to your tabletop. Bring your hands a little bit further forward. Tuck your toes and come up to your downward facing dog. Walking out the legs, so dropping one heel, bending the opposite knee. Just moving a little bit in your down dog to warm your legs up. Remember to keep those deep breaths going that we established in our centering. Really important that we don't hold the breath. Okay, and then look towards your hands. Step your right foot forward. Help it through. If it doesn't quite get there, drop the left knee. Your low lunge. Keep the back toes tucked as you bring your hands onto that front leg. Inhale here. Exhale, you might sink a little bit forward into the hips. But just check, make sure when you sink forward that your knee is in line with your ankle. Sorry, I just noticed a bit of dog hair on my leggings. So you feel a nice stretch in your left hip flexors. Okay, we're going to inhale and lift the arms up, squeezing the buttocks in. Strong hips. Exhale, just soften the shoulders here. You might lean back slightly, don't force it. But you might inhale and lift the heart up. Exhale, ground through the legs. Bring your hands back down. Step back to your downward facing dog. Just take a few breaths here. You can walk it out still, as we're still kind of warming up the body. We're still centering the mind on the breath. Look towards your hands. As you inhale, step that left foot forward. Help it through if it doesn't quite make it, because you want it to be between the hands. Something just fell in the garden. It's very windy today. Okay, so the right knees drop down. Right toes are tucked. And then lift up. Bring your hands onto that front leg. Inhale here. Exhale, sink a little bit forward. And again, just make sure your knee stays in line with your ankle. And that front leg. This side might feel a little bit tighter or a little bit easier for you. For me, it's a little bit tighter. And you'll tend to notice differences on one side than the other. As you practice yoga more, you spend more time feeling into the poses on each side. Let's inhale and lift the arms up, squeezing the hips in as you do that and pressing into the ground. Exhale, keep your breath going in this shape. So we always think about the foundation of the pose, so what's touching the floor, making sure we're pressing down into the ground, and that pressing down helps us to lift up and find space in the upper body. With an exhale, bring your hands back down. Rather than stepping back, today we're going to step forward. So lift that back knee, maybe just come onto your fingertips, and then step that right foot forward so you end up in a forward fold at the top of your mat. And just the soft warming up forward fold, so feet can be hip distance apart. Head can rest down. Knees can be softly bent. You can hold the elbows as you dangle here. Just find some release in the backs of the legs. If you're very tight in the back, or if you have any lower back problems at all, you must always keep your knees very bent in your forward folds. Don't try and force the legs straight. Try and keep this nice kind of straightness to the lower back. Okay, if you've got lower back problems. Okay, we're going to start to roll up, so bend through the knees. And slowly, slowly, with bent legs, roll up to standing, with the neck and head coming up last. Then just roll your shoulders back a couple of times. Okay, so we'll do our mountain pose again. It's always really good to remind us how to be in our other poses when we set up with a really good mountain pose. So feet hip distance, lift the toes up, ground through the four corners of your feet, and then drop your toes back down. From that pressing down through the feet, we're lifting up in the kneecaps. The thighs become active. The lower belly draws in. So you're zipping up some tight jeans. Moving up to the heart, it softens, the shoulders soften. Palms face forwards. Fingers spread a little bit, so there's a little bit of energy in your fingertips. Dip the chin just slightly and lift up in the crown of the head. Take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the legs as they are. As you inhale, lift the arms up. We're going to move through our sun salutation A. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands onto the legs, straight spine. Exhale, hands down, step back to your plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lower down the knees. And then the rest of your body. Ready for your cobra. Point your toes. Inhale, lift up. Strong legs. Draw your shoulders back. Exhale, lower back down. Tuck toes, push back. Downward facing dog. Let's stay for 5 breaths today. Knees can bend. Fingers spread. Eyes of your elbows turning. They won't face the front, but they can kind of aim to turn in just a little bit. Make sure your neck is nice and soft. You can maybe say no with your head. You can say yes with your head. With your next inhale, look up towards your hands. Step your feet forward, finding your half forward fold at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold over your legs. You can bend your knees again. Keeping the knees bent. Press through the feet as you inhale. You're going to lift yourself all the way up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale. Hands to heart. We're going to do 2 more rounds. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take your halfway lift. Exhale, back to your plank. Inhale, activate your plank. So lift your kneecaps, draw your lower belly in. Let your shoulder blades spread apart so the upper back kind of lifts up a little bit. And then exhale, lower your knees down, come down onto your belly. Point your toes. Inhale, ready for your cobra, lift up your heart. Exhale, lower back. Tuck toes, push back. Downward facing dog. Instead of down dog, let's take a child's pose this round. So drop your knees down. Knees can either be together or they can be wide, up to you. But toes are together. Sink your bum back to your heels. Rest your head down. And let your hands come forward. Inhale here. Exhale. So your breath filling your lungs, your ribs, your back ribs even, expanding. Last breath here. Inhale, come back up. Tuck your toes, push back, downward facing dog. Exhale here. Inhale, look towards your hands. Step forward. Take your half lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, bend through the knees, press through the feet, rise up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's go again, one more time. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, back to plank. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra, point your toes. Lift your heart. Exhale, lower back. Tuck toes, push back. Down dog. This time I'm going to add a new pose that I'm going to teach you. So we're going to inhale and lift the right leg up into a 3-leg dog. Okay, so just lift that right leg into the air. It doesn't have to lift high. Spread your fingers, press through your hands even more to help you. Look between your hands and then step that right foot through. Help it through if it doesn't get there by itself. Okay, so this is another type of lunge. This is called a runner's lunge. We still want that right angle of the front leg, so the ankle and knee in line. Feet are about hip distance apart, and that back leg stays really straight and strong and active, and you push through that back heel. Okay, so the back kneecap, think of like your Tadasana. That kneecap lifts, the thighs active, and then the lower belly can zip in, the spine can lengthen. Okay, so from our runner's lunge, we're going to rise up to a high lunge. Okay, so let go of your hands from the floor. Your legs are doing the work. Inhale. Can you rise up? Again, using the ground to help you lift. Breathe here. Couple of breaths. Okay, so now we're here. A couple of things to check. Again, you've still got that nice bend in the front knee. The knee is not going beyond that front ankle. Back heel's lifted, back leg is still strong and straight. Even though the arms are lifted up, we're not holding the shoulders next to the ears, we can draw them down the back a bit. Just take one more inhale and exhale. Hands come back down, back to that downward facing dog. Okay, and then we'll do the same on the left side. So I always take the right foot just slightly more into center, and then inhale, lift the left leg up. 3-leg dog with the left leg in the air. Take a couple of breaths here. Breathe into any tightness you feel. Look between the hands. Bend through that left knee and then step it through. Don't worry if it doesn't quite get there. You can carry it through the rest of the way. Runner's lunge. So now you might have to step that right foot back out to the right a little bit. So your feet are hip distance apart. You've got a nice bend in that front knee. Knee is in line with the toes of that front foot. Spine is long. You're just lightly pressing your fingertips down, so your legs are doing the work. You're not putting any weight into your hands. When you're ready, inhale, high lunge, lift up. Exhale, soften the shoulders a little bit. Sink into that back heel a little bit. Inhale again. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale, hands down. Step back. Downward facing dog. Looking up towards the hands as you inhale, step your feet forward. Find your half forward fold at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, bend into your knees, press into your feet, rise up, palms touch overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Just take a moment, take a breath. And then release your hands. So I'm going to show you a couple of standing poses. So from the top of your mat, you're going to step your left foot back. So keep your right foot where it is at the top of the mat and step the left foot back. We're preparing for triangle pose or Trikonasana, the Sanskrit name. So your right foot continues to face forward. Your left foot step back and it's turned at kind of a 45-degree angle. Okay, so some people prefer to have the 90-degree angle with that back foot. Some people like it a little bit turned in. You can just play with that, just see what feels better. Okay. And the front ankle heel is in line with the back heel. Okay, so if there's anything on your mat that you can line that up with, that's pretty much where it wants to be. Okay, so once you've got your feet set, we're going to apply the rules of mountain pose Tadasana into this pose. Lift your toes up, ground through the four corners of your feet, and then lower your toes back down. Lift the kneecaps without locking the legs, just to activate the thighs of that front and back leg. And from there, the lower belly zips in and up, shoulders relax. The arms are going to lift to shoulder height. Keep this activity happening, this engagement happening in the legs. Inhale. And then exhale, reach forward as if you're trying to grab hold of something in front of you. And then tilt down. And just bring that right hand onto the right leg, wherever it lands. And the left arm reaches up. I'm going to stay for 3 breaths. So you're not pressing too much. Okay, you're not dumping all of your weight forward. You're keeping your weight kind of even through both feet. And it's not about how far down that front leg you can come, okay? because you'll just kind of collapse. You want to stay light and long in the spine and in the heart space. Okay, inhale, pressing through your feet, strong legs to lift you back up. Exhale, release your arms. Turn your feet parallel to the long side of your mat, and then turn your left foot towards the back of your mat. Right foot turns a little bit in. Again, we'll do that 45-degree angle or so. Heels in line. Activate your legs like you would in mountain pose. Lift your toes. Ground through the four corners of your feet. Then lower your toes back down. Lift your kneecaps. Draw your lower belly in. Arms lift up. Inhale. Exhale, reach forward and then tilt. Left hand on left leg, wherever it lands. You might have more of a bend in that front knee. Okay, so if you feel particularly tight in that front knee, bend it as much as you need to. We're working towards it being straight for triangle, but if it needs to stay bent at the moment, then it can. Breathe here. We try and look up towards the sky in triangle, but again, if that doesn't feel good for your neck, you can just keep your head looking down or looking to the side. So I always just give you suggestions, okay? So ultimately you decide what feels good for you. You don't have to force yourself somewhere where it doesn't feel good. Inhale, press yourself up. And then exhale, release your hands, turning your feet parallel. Bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale here. We're going to come to a wide leg forward fold. So fold over your legs. So feet are facing forwards, toes are facing forwards, spine stays long and straight. Hands can stay on the hips if you feel kind of tight in the legs and you don't really get lower than 90 degrees. But if you get lower than 90 degrees with your body to your legs, you can slide your hands maybe down the legs a bit or even bring them down onto the mat. This is our standing wide leg forward fold. A great stretch for the backs of the legs, the hips. Just breathe into wherever you can feel that in your body. Okay, and then with an inhale, just lift halfway up again. So straighten your spine, your hands might be down or they might be on your legs or they might be on your hips. Then exhale to fold back into it. Bring your hands back onto your hips as you inhale next. You might bend a bit through the knees and press yourself all the way to an upright position. Turning your right foot to the front of the mat. Left foot turns a bit in and we're just going to step back up to the top of the mat. So now coming to lie down, ready for your Shavasana. Come to lay on your mat. So today we just went over what we learned in the first class and we added our high lunge, our triangle pose and our wide leg forward fold. So just let all of those poses just sink into the body. I'm going to sit up to talk you through your relaxation. But just let your body relax for these last couple of minutes. As your eyes gently close and your natural breath comes back. And just allow a softness to sweep over your body. Nothing to do. Nowhere to be. But just right here. Just taking a quiet moment with yourself. Just observe the felt sense of your body. Sensation that you can observe. As you just let everything slow down. So you can start to deepen your breath now. You can start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, just coming back to your physical body. Maybe stretch your arms overhead like you're just waking up for the second time today, but this time a little bit more open and relaxed. Rolling yourself over onto one side of your body. Take a moment here on your side. Press yourself into one hand and lift back to a seated position. In your seated position, just bringing your hands together in front of your heart space, Anjali Mudra. Closing your eyes. Observing how you feel now at this stage of your practice. And bowing your head towards your heart with gratitude to yourself for practicing and for finding the practice of yoga. You can gently open your eyes, lift your gaze. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.